Here's the easiest way to germinate passionflower seeds. Come join me in the chaos. All right, so these are passionflower or Passiflora incarnata, Maypop, and I harvested these about a month ago. And forgive me for this is a voiceover. My original audio got messed up, so I'm redoing this. So I decided to try to germinate these, and to germinate these, they have a really hard seed coat. And so the trick is you have to overcome the seed coat. And there's a few ways you can do that with frost, for example, but I'm gonna show you how you can scarify these. So see these nail clippers? I'm gonna try to break through this seed coat without actually damaging the embryo. So inside of this seed coat, there's a white embryo, roughly the same shape as the seed itself, but it has this waterproof black shell around the outside of the embryo. And the main idea here is to get through that shell or to let water through that shell. And then when the water hydrates the embryo, then the embryo swells and grows and does all the things that seeds do. But that process is stopped until you get through that seed coat. And so a lot of people will stratify, which also works. You just bury it in the ground, and after a couple years, that shell will slowly decompose. And then eventually when water gets to that embryo, the embryo hydrates, activates, and then becomes active. So this is gonna speed up that process so I don't have to sit around waiting a couple years for these to decompose. And there's experiments you can do with like yeast and stuff where you can try to break those down. I'm just gonna make a little crack. You can also use sandpaper. I think nail clippers are more precise because then I can see exactly where I'm cutting. And you just cut a little piece off until you see a little bit of white. And as you can see, I just got through that black, it's almost like plastic, that seed coat. You get through that seed coat, you see a little bit of white in the center, that's the embryo. That white part will absorb water. So all you gotta do is just barely get through that seed coat. And I think that's actually stored carbohydrates and such for the seed itself. I think it's called endosperm or endocarp or something like that. I forgot the words. I learned all that stuff in botany a long time ago. The point is to allow that embryo to absorb water, and that's what we're doing. We're making a way for water to get in. And then I did this actually. So here's an example of what I did about a week and a half ago. I took some of these, cut a little bit with nail clippers, and then stuck them in this damp paper. This is just notebook paper. I couldn't find any paper towels. So paper towels might be ideal because you can more precisely tune how wet they are. With notebook paper, they basically are drenched if you get them more than slightly wet, but it worked, so that's what matters. And as you can see here, this is the embryo. It kind of popped out of the shell, and then there's another one that's coming out of the shell as well. So I have two examples of, I like that one a lot better. But as you can see, they're both sprouting, both putting out that little root. So I'm gonna probably today put these into soil. As you can see, there's little root hairs on that little root tip. And I wanna make sure they're able to absorb nutrients and get established into soil before they run out of energy. Once they run out of energy, they'll stop growing and then the embryo just dies. So it's a very fragile time for these little seeds as they first start growing. And these other ones look like they're swelling as well. So I'll probably just stick all these into a little pot and see how they do over the winter. I'm at the end of fall, so it's probably a bad time to plant these outside. And again, all you need is fingernail clippers for this process that's called scarification. You just make a little chip in the seed. And you can do this for most plants that take a long time to grow. They usually take a long time to grow just because you got to get through that seed coat. You got to hydrate that embryo. So a pretty simple process. I hope this makes sense to you. If you have questions, please leave me a comment. Ask me the questions if I made a mistake on something I said or on, I don't know, my botanical definitions or something. Please teach me. But as you can see, these things are growing, so this process is working. There's probably other methods to get passionflower to grow, and if you have a better method, please tell me. But this method seems to also work. So I hope this helps you to get your passion flowers growing. Thanks for joining me in the chaos.